called as induction. I will explain. Now see this motor. Motor means the input will be electrical power input and the output will be mechanical power output. A motor converts electrical power to mechanical power. So here the motor shaft will be rotating and we are going to connect the motor shaft to other appliances. So based on the requirement, we are going to use that mechanical power output of the motor. Now here, if you take a motor has two parts. One is the stator, another one is the rotor. Stator means stationary part, rotor means rotating part. Now let us see the stator first. So if you see a stator, this is the stator. Okay, the stator, you are going to have the stator frame. So that is the outer body. Next, you are going to have the stator core. So on this core, you are going to have the winding. See here, winding. So stator frame or outer body, and on that you are going to have the core. On the core, you are going to have the winding. So here the winding is three-phase winding. The winding can be connected in star or delta based on our requirement. Now here, so here the stator core. The stator core is cylindrical in shape and is made up of high-grade silicon steel laminations. So here also the stator core is laminated to reduce eddy current losses. So here the thickness of the laminations will be from 0.3 mm. See the thickness 0.3 mm to 0.5 mm. So you can imagine the thickness of the lamination. Next, the slots are punched on the inner periphery of the stampings as shown in figure. So here you can see the slots. So on the slots you are going to have the winding. So here, so these are the stator stampings. So like this you are going to have the laminations. And here, this is the cross-sectional view of this motor. Okay, here you can see the wires or the winding. So winding will be placed in the slots. And the winding will not come out of this slots. See here, there is no, the gap is very less, so the winding cannot come out of this slot. So here, so the stator conductors are connected in the form of three-phase distributed winding. So the stator winding may be either star or delta connected, and three-phase supply is given to stator winding. So here the stator of the motor is wound for definite number of poles. So here next you are going to study about the synchronous speed. Ns equal to 120 F by P. Ns means synchronous speed. It is given by 120 F by P. The importance I will explain now. So here Ns is the speed of the stationary. Here Ns is the synchronous speed. It is the speed of the stator magnetic field. Is any doubts? Somebody raise their hand. Okay. So here Ns is the speed of stator magnetic field. So here the stator magnetic field will be rotating at a speed of Ns. The stator magnetic field will be rotating at a speed of Ns. Ns is the synchronous speed. It is given by 120 F by P, where F is the frequency, P is the number of poles. P is the number of poles. So so here, if you take a two-pole winding, it will be having one north pole and one south pole. If you take a four-pole winding means it has alternatively north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole. So like this north. So if you take a two-pole, Are you able to see the screen? Yeah,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Yes, okay, thank you. So here, Ns is the speed of stator magnetic field. So here, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator, so here already it is mentioned, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator will be producing a magnetic field that is rotating at a speed of Ns. So Ns is given by 120 F by P. Suppose if you have P equal to 2, then Ns will be equal to, we know that supply frequency is equal to 50 Hz. If P equal to 2, then Ns will be 3000 RPM. If P equal to 4, see here, so here we know that F equal to 50 Hz. And here if P equal to 2, so Ns will be equal to, if you substitute these values, Ns will be equal to 3000. So suppose if P equal to 4, so in that case, Ns will be equal to 1500 RPM. What is meant by RPM? Revolutions per minute. So here in this case, Ns will be equal to 3000 RPM. So RPM means revolutions per minute or rotations per minute. You can take any of this. So here, so how a rotating magnetic field is produced when a three-phase supply is given to the stator winding. So let me explain now. So before going to that, so let us see this rotor also. So a rotor are of two types. First one is the squirrel cage. This is a squirrel cage rotor, and this is a wound rotor motor. So squirrel cage. So here, so next is the wound rotor. So on the wound rotor, you are going to have three-phase winding. Is it clear? First, squirrel cage means, see here, squirrel cage. So here, these are the rotor conductors. Whatever the bars you see, those are the rotor conductors. This is a squirrel cage. So here you can see the end rings. This is one end ring. This is another end ring. And here you are going to have a bars, just like a cage. And here the rotor bars are given a slight skew in order to avoid the magnetic locking. So here the rotor bars are not straight. There will be a slight bend. See here. In this it is clear. See here. So here this is a rotor shaft. These are the bearings. Okay. So here bearing, with the help of the bearings, the rotor can, this shaft can rotate, having the support of these bearings. And here you can see here the rotor conductors. The rotor conductors are not straight. So here a slight skew is here. This is a rotor conductor. This is another rotor conductor. So here you can see here they are not straight. They are not perpendicular to these end rings. They are given a slight skew. Skew means skew. So some cross, they are arranged in somewhat a bend is given. See here. So this is given in order to avoid the magnetic locking. So the rotor conductors are given a slight skew in order to avoid the magnetic locking. Now here the rotor. So on the rotor you are going to have these rotor conductors. So these are only the rotor conductors. See here, if you see the above figure, these are only the rotor conductors. The rotor conductors are connected by end rings. These will be present on this rotor. So here this is the rotor. On the rotor you are going to have the rotor conductors. And here the rotor is also laminated in order to reduce the core losses. So here the rotor conductors are made up of copper or aluminum. and these rotor conductors are placed in the slots. So slots will be given. On the slots, rotor conductors will be placed. So next, this is a wound rotor, slip ring rotor or wound rotor. So here the rotor conductors, on the rotor you are going to have rotor winding. Instead of rotor conductors, you are going to have rotor windings, and here three-phase winding will be there. So here you can see wound rotor or slip ring rotor. So the three-phase winding, can you see the winding? The winding is star connected, and the windings are placed on this rotor, and the winding ends are connected to the slip ring. See here, the winding ends are connected to the slip rings. Now here the slip rings are connected to external resistance through brushes. See here, these are the brushes. So brushes will be pressed on these slip rings. When the rotor rotates, brush will be always contact with the slip rings. So the slip rings will be rotating. The slip rings will be rotating with the shaft. The slip rings are attached to the shaft. When the shaft rotates, slip rings also rotates. The contact of a resistor with the slip rings is obtained by use of brushes. So brushes will be stationary here. Brushes will be there. So like this, brushes will be there. Brushes will be in contact with the slip ring, and to this resistance will be connected. So here we can vary the resistance. So resistance, this part will be stationary, and this brushes will be stationary. The slip rings will be rotating, and here the slip rings are connected to three-phase winding. So here in a wound rotor induction motor, both the stator is having the three-phase winding and rotor is also having the three-phase winding. But in a squirrel cage, on the rotor we are going to have rotor conductors, and the rotor conductors are connected to the end rings. But in a wound rotor, the rotor conductors are connected in a three-phase winding. So here three-phase winding will be there on the rotor, and the three-phase winding will be, the ends of this three-phase winding will be connected to the slip rings, and the slip rings are connected to resistors through brushes. So this is about the construction. Now here coming to the operation of this three-phase induction motor. So here for the operation of this three-phase induction motor, you have to know about the rotating magnetic field. So here first let me explain the operation of this motor. See here. So here I will show on the diagram. Okay. So are you able to see the diagram figure, stator diagram? Yeah, please respond. Are you able to see the stator diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here stator winding will be having, here the stator is having three-phase winding, right? So here R by B are the terminals. Let it be star or delta connection. So here R by B are the three-phase terminals of this stator winding, and three-phase supply is given to the stator winding. So when a three-phase supply is given to the stator winding, a rotating magnetic field is produced. A rotating magnetic field having a constant here. The speed of the rotating magnetic field is given by ns. So first point is, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator winding of a three-phase induction motor, a rotating magnetic field is produced which rotates at a constant speed of ns, where ns is the synchronous speed. So here what is meant by rotating magnetic field? So here at one instant, this is the direction of the magnetic field, resultant magnetic field. Then afterwards, this will be the direction of the rotating magnetic field. Afterwards, this will be the rotating direction of the rotating magnetic field. That means here, if this is the direction at one instant, the direction of the rotating magnetic field changes. So like this. See here. So here, like this, rotating magnetic field is produced. The direction of the rotating lines of force, if this is the lines of force, this is the lines of force at one instant, after some instant, this will be the direction of the lines of force, and this will be the direction of the lines of force. So like this. So here, this completes one rotation. So like this, the speed is given by, so 120 f by p, ns equal to 120 f by p, where f is the frequency and p is the number of poles. If let us take p equal to 4, let us take p equal to 2. If p equal to 2, you are going to get ns as 3000. So if f equal to 50 hertz, p equal to 2, what is ns? ns equal to 120 into 50 by 2, which is equal to 3000. So you are going to get 3000 rpm. So here, in 1 minute, 3000 rotations will be completed. That means in 1 second, 3000 by 60. So 3000 by 60 means we are going to get 50 rps. Is it clear? So are you imagining the speed? So here, when a three-phase supply is going to the stator winding of a three-phase induction motor, a rotating magnetic field is produced, and it rotates at a speed of ns, which is given by 120 by p. Okay. So here, this is one rotation. This is one rotation. In 1 second, it completes 50 rotations. Is it clear? In one second, it completes 50 rotations. In 1 minute, it completes 3000 rotations. So is it clear? Next, I am going to show how a rotating magnetic field is produced. Okay. So first, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator of a three-phase induction motor, a rotating magnetic field is produced which rotates at a constant speed of 120 f by p. Next, in the middle you have the rotor conductors. So here in the middle you have this. Let us take this squirrel cage. So here this will be in the middle. So here this one, on the shaft you are going to have the rotor. On the rotor you are going to have the rotor conductors, and here this is one type of rotor conductors which is called as squirrel cage rotor. Now here, this rotating magnetic field, whatever this rotating magnetic field is there, so this rotating magnetic field induces EMF in the rotor conductors. So as per Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, when there is a relative motion between the magnetic field and the conductor, EMF will be induced in the conductor. So here, so this rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors, right? So in the middle we have the rotor conductors. So this rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors. So EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. Is it clear? So here, see the rotor conductors. Okay. So here, when the rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors, EMF will be induced in these rotor conductors. So here, see the rotor circuit is a closed circuit, right? So here, this is a closed circuit. So when EMF is induced in these conductors, current will be flowing through these conductors. So here this current has its magnetic field. So due to these rotor currents, a magnetic field is produced by the rotor. And here this rotor magnetic field experiences a here. Due to these two fields, a torque is experienced by the rotor and the rotor rotates. So first point is when a three-phase supply is given to the stator of a three-phase induction motor, or simply when a three-phase supply is given to the stator, a rotating magnetic field is produced. This rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors, okay, and EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. As the rotor conductors are short-circuited, current will be flowing through these rotor conductors, so it will be producing a flux, and the due to this flux, you have two fluxes. One is rotor flux and another one is the stator flux. First we have the stator flux, and we got the rotor flux. And here, due to this, the rotor will experience torque and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. So here, this can be explained in other words also. So you know that when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences torque. Current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experiences torque. Now here, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator, a rotating magnetic field is produced. That is the first point. Next, this rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors and EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. Next, as the rotor conductors are short-circuited, current flows through the rotor conductors. So here, these currents, these rotor currents interacts with the rotating magnetic field and experiences a torque and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. Is it clear? Anyone understood? This number 64, 65. Do you want to say anything? Keep your microphones in mute. Okay, see here. See here. Once again, I will explain here. When a three-phase supply is given to the stator, a rotating magnetic field is produced. This rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors and EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. Okay. As the rotor conductors are short-circuited, current flows through the rotor conductors. These rotor currents interacts with the rotating magnetic field and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. This is very simple explanation. So here, you know that motor principle is when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences torque. The torque is given by BIL, where B is the See here. Do you remember this one? Torque equal to BIL. So the torque experienced by the rotor conductor is equal to BIL, where B is the magnetic flux density, I is the current flowing through the conductor, L is the length of the conductor. So torque experienced by a rotor conductor is given by BIL. So here when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experiences torque. The torque is given by BIL, where B is the magnetic flux density, I is the current, L is the length of the conductor. So here, is it clear? Is it clear, or shall I explain once again? Yeah, please respond. Number 117.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you understood the operation of a three-phase induction motor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here once again I am explaining, when a three-phase supply is given to the stator, a rotating magnetic field is produced. So this rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors. EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. As the rotor conductors are short-circuited, current flows through the rotor conductors. So these rotor currents interacts with rotating magnetic field and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. So first one is production of rotating magnetic field. When a three-phase supply is given to stator, a rotating magnetic field is produced. This rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors. EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. Afterwards, rotor currents will flow. Rotor currents interacts with rotating magnetic field and experiences torque and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. So this is about the working principle of a three-phase induction motor. Now let us see how a rotating magnetic field is produced. So production of rotating magnetic field. So three-phase supply is given to stator winding, which is star connected. Now here this will be the three-phase waveforms, voltage wave here, flux waveforms, phi A, phi B, phi C. Phi A, after 120 degrees we are going to have phi B, after 120 degrees we are going to have phi C. So here, this is the pause here, see the diagram. Phi A, I have drawn horizontal. Phi A is the direction, positive direction of flux A phase, A, B, C. So here this is B. This is phi A, phi B, and phi C. Horizontal, I have drawn phi A horizontally. So this the arrow mark indicates the positive direction of the flux. Here, phi B. So here the orientation of the windings will be such that they are the fluxes will be having a phase angle, and also these windings are displaced in such a way that So phi A is the positive direction of flux phi A, and phi B. You can see the phi B, phasor phi B. It is the positive direction of the flux phi B, and phi C. Phi C is the positive direction of flux phi C. They are also physically displaced. The windings are physically displaced, and also they have a phase angle. They are also having the phase angle. So here the fluxes are also the windings are also displaced physically. So here you know that alternating flux. So here the magnitude increases, then decreases, and changes its direction. If this phi A is a positive direction of the flux phi A, next what is the negative direction of this? In opposite. That means here this will be the negative direction. This will be minus phi A. If phi A is in positive x-axis, minus phi A will be negative x-axis. Suppose phi B, this is the positive direction of the flux phi B. Its opposite direction will be minus phi B. So in this direction, you are going to have minus phi B. Is it clear? Similarly, phi C, this is the positive direction. Its opposite will be minus phi C. So two directions, positive forward direction, reverse direction. See here, the wordings also you can see here. So here, so a rotating magnetic field can be defined as the field or flux lines of constant amplitude, but whose axis rotated continuously with some speed. So here you can see here, consider a three-phase induction motor whose stator windings displaced 120 degrees relative to each other. So here the stator windings are displaced by 120 degrees physically, and also they are supplied with three-phase supply. And here phi A, phi B, phi C are the positive directions of the fluxes phi A, phi B, and phi C respectively. Now here consider the instant omega t equal to 0. Omega t equal to 0. So at omega t equal to 0, what is phi A? Phi A equal to 0. What about phi B? Phi B is negative. What about phi C? See here, the dash is bigger dashes. So phi C is positive. That means on this, this shows the direction of the fluxes. This shows the direction of the fluxes. Now phi A equal to 0. What about phi C positive? Phi B negative. So here at instant omega t equal to 0, you see here phi A equal to 0, phi B is negative, and the magnitude is minus root 3 by 2 phi m. See the magnitude. What is phi B? So phi B, see this is phi B, small dashes. So here phi A, solid curve, so dashed curve, phi B. Phi C, long, somewhat big dashes. See here, at omega t equal to 0, at this instant, at omega t equal to 0, so phi A equal to 0, phi B is negative, phi C is positive. What about the magnitude of phi B? So here this is, this is 30 degrees. This is 30 degrees, right? So this is at 30 degrees, it is having the maximum value. So here at this instant, 5b is maximum. This is 30 degrees from 0 to this point, 30 degrees. This will be minus root 3 by 2 phi m, minus root 3 by 2 phi m, this point. What about this one? This is 0. From here to here, 60. This is phi m sine 60. Here this is minus phi m sine 60. So relatively, you are going to get this type of phasor. So here phi a equal to 0, phi b equal to minus root 3 by 2 phi m, phi c equal to root 3 by 2 phi m. So if you add this 3, if you add this 3, let us add this 3. So here, at omega t equal to 0, so phi c is positive, phi b is negative. So here, minus phi b will be in this direction. Actually, phi b, this is the direction of the phi b, positive direction of the phi b. This is the positive direction of phi b. So as phi b is negative, you have to take in this direction. So this is, the magnitude is root 3 by 2 phi m. If you do the phasor sum of these two, you are going to get the resultant as 3 by 2 phi m. It is already showed in here. See here, already it is shown here. So if you add these two, you are going to get the resultant as phi a phi b. So here the resultant will be 3 by 2 phi m. See here, at omega t equal to 0, so phi b is minus 3 by 2 phi m, phi c is 3 by 2 phi m, and phi r, if you want phi r, it is equal to 3 by 2 phi m. At omega t equal to 60 degrees, phi a equal to positive, phi b is negative. These are obtained from the waveforms. Phi c is 0. So if you add these three, you are going to get the resultant as same 3 by 2 phi m. At omega t equal to, see here, say at instant 120 degrees, here you are going to get the 3 by 2 phi m. So let us see the diagrams. Say at omega t equal to 0, phi c positive, so same direction of phi c. Phi b is negative, means minus phi b in this direction. This is the direction of minus phi b. If you add these two, you are going to get 3 by 2 phi m. Now at omega t equal to 60, phi a is positive and its magnitude is 3 by root 3 by 2 phi m. And what about phi b? Phi b is negative. So here in this direction, this is minus phi b direction. So root 3 by 2 phi m, you are going to get 3 by 2 phi m. At omega t equal to 120 degrees. See here, this is vertical. It is changed to like this. So it is rotated through 60 degrees. At omega t equal to 0, it is vertical. At omega t equal to 60 degrees, the resultant magnetic field rotated by 60 degrees in clockwise direction. Next, at omega t equal to 120 degrees, again it is rotated by another 60, total 120 degrees. So the here phi r, resultant flux is 3 by 2 phi m. Next, at omega t equal to 180 degrees. So here it is vertically down. So here the magnitude is 3 by 2 phi m. So you can see that resultant flux. So here this is the resultant flux. This is the, so here this is the resultant flux. So middle one, this is the resultant flux, and here this is the resultant flux. So it is rotated by 60. At omega t equal to 60, it is rotated by 60. Next, at omega t equal to 120, again it is rotated by another 60. Total is 120. Here, this is the resultant flux. So here you can see that the direction of the rotating magnetic field. So here the field rotates and it is rotating in clockwise direction. So if you want to reverse the direction of the rotating magnetic field, you can reverse the phase sequence. Instead of ABC, you can take ACB. Then the rotating magnetic field rotates in anti-clockwise direction. So here, the phase sequence is ABC. So here the phase sequence is ABC. Instead of ABC, if you have ACB, the rotating magnetic field rotates in anti-clockwise direction. So here this is about the rotating magnetic field. So you can see the rotating magnetic field is rotated in with constant amplitude of 3 by 2. So here constant amplitude of 3 by 2 phi m, and rotates in, and the direction of the rotation can be changed by changing the phase sequence. So you can see the notes here. Here it is clearly mentioned when a three-phase supply is given to the stator windings. See, all of you able to see the step 1. When three-phase supply is given to stator winding, a rotating magnetic field rotating at a synchronous speed ns equal to 120 F by P is produced. At the field is rotating in clockwise direction. The stationary rotor conductors cut the rotating magnetic field, and due to electromagnetic induction, an EMF is induced in the rotor conductors. So when the stationary conductors cut the rotating magnetic field, and EMF is induced in the rotor conductors. Okay, second point. Since the rotor circuit is complete, either through the end rings in case of a squirrel cage or an external resistance in case of slip ring rotor. So as the rotor circuit is complete, the induced EMF causes a current to flow in the rotor conductor. The direction of this induced current is given by Fleming's right hand rule. So right hand rule means if you stretch the thumb, middle finger and forefinger in the direction of the magnetic field, motion, thumb indicates the motion of the conductor, forefinger indicates the magnetic field, middle finger the direction of the current. Okay. The current in the rotor conductors produces its own magnetic field. We know that when a conductor carrying a current is put in a magnetic field, a force is produced on it. Thus, a force is produced on the rotor conductor. The direction of this force can be found by Fleming's left-hand rule. Since the rotor conductor is in the slot on the circumference of the rotor, this force acts in a tangential direction to the rotor and develops a torque on the rotor. Here, rotor conductor, rotor. Rotor means entire rotor. Rotor will be placed on the, here rotor conductors will be placed on the rotor. So rotor conductors experience the torque, thereby they will rotate the rotor also. So this driving torque puts the rotor into motion. Thus a three-phase induction motor is self-starting. Since the operation of this motor depends on the induced voltage in its rotor conductors, it is thus named as induction motor. So here the transfer of power from stator to rotor is inductively. So there is no electrical connection between the rotor and the stator. The power will be transferred from stator to rotor through inductively. That's why it is called as induction motor. So let me take the attendance. If you go through these notes, so here number 93, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Uh, you once again you send your BW answer sheet to my mail ID. Okay, my mail ID is rkrishna_triple@gmail.mbsrec.edu.in. See here. Understood?
Yes, sir.
rkrishna_triple. No down. Are you able to see my mail ID? rkrishna_triple.